Through the years, there's been a ton of ways that Charizard can be ran competitively. While 99% of the time, it's much more effectively ran as a special attacker, one of the most classic sets of all time is the old Bellizard. It can use Belly Drum, bringing it to +6 attack immediately at the cost of half of its health. This then activates a Citrus Berry, and now the belly is drummed and full. Since we no longer have an item, we can actually use Stab Acrobatics, which becomes 110 power to delete essentially everything. So Game Freak's favorite non-dragon type dragon is fast, but not that fast. So we can actually pull out Stab Flame Charge, which gives us a +1 speed with each use. It's got some strong coverage in Earthquake if needed, and while Charizard has been belly drumming for years, this thing can still catch people off guard. So I vividly remember some kid on the playground talking about belly drum Charizard like it was some type of cheat code back in the day, and the age-old strat has seemed to fall out of popularity a bit, but today it's time to bring it back. If you're into that kind of thing, you should think about hitting that subscribe button. It's free, it only takes you a second, I promise you will not regret it. And so before we get into the battle, I want to give a huge shout out to my favorite sponsor ever, Surfshark VPN. So look, Surfshark is the best VPN out. In a nutshell, it's a technology that encrypts your data and masks your IP address when you use the internet. Aside from the obvious security and privacy benefits, it has some other really cool things that it can do. First, you can unlock censored content. I was actually just in a trip to Japan, and I was able to turn on my Surfshark to set my location to the US to access Netflix shows from back home, or even vice versa when I got back. Another huge one is price discrimination. When online shopping for things like flights or hotels, companies will often show you higher prices they think you'll pay based off of data that they have on you. But when you pop on the Surfshark, this is able to mask any data and gives you guaranteed best prices. The best part in my opinion about Surfshark is the fact that one single subscription allows you to use unlimited devices. If for some reason you have like 40 laptops and 6 cell phones, you're still good. Surfshark also has a product called Alternative ID, which is a tool that generates a brand new identity and email for you to use to avoid, providing personal information to one-time use websites that you don't want to get bombarded by emails from for the rest of your life. Surfshark is already insanely good value, but right now you can go to surfshark.com/Haydunn or click the link in the description to get an extra 4 months of Surfshark. Definitely check it out. And let's go ahead and get into the action. Alright, so my opponent is going to go ahead and lead off with the Cloyster. Now this is a scary lead because I've got a freaking Spidops. I'm just a little chopstick fella over here. I imagine they probably want to go ahead and set up a Shell Smash turn 1. I feel like that's what they're going for. Turns out actually they're going to go for a Rock Blast. And that's actually a decent move because with 5 hits it has a chance to be able to knock me out through a Focus Sash, but luckily Spidops is actually the GOAT, I fear. I do live with the 5 hits just barely, and that allows me to set up my Sticky Web. And I'm just going to place these here. Just go ahead and don't mind what I'm up to over here. Now, at this point, I'm going to click Circle Throw, just on the chance they don't want to Shell Smash now, and it actually works out perfectly. They are going to go for that Shell Smash, and as they're just going to, go through the whole motions of being the scariest damn sweeper ever, they do get that sharp attack boost, special attack, and speed, and all sorts of nonsense, and then Spidops is going to be like, actually, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna escort you out of here. They do obviously activate that White Herb, and then the Circle Throw comes through. Not only super effective hit, which does nothing, but it forces the switch out, which is actually pretty damn good. So look at Spidops, actually getting some quality value out of the fella. I will have to deal with that Cloyster later, but that's a problem for later on. Now this does end up dragging in a random team member. Turns out to be a different spider, which does get caught up in the Sticky Web. Araquanid is probably on their side as well to set up their own Sticky Web. And at this point, I'm actually faster, which is not something that, Spidops ever does. But I can outspeed, go for that Memento, which is going to now basically cut the attack in half. And then the Spidops gets to die on its own terms. So a job well done, and they're actually going to end up clicking the Liquidation over the Sticky Web there. So Liquidation in the air looking like a fool, and now I've actually got myself some great momentum to try to get one of these little fellas sweeping. So first of all, I'm going to switch into the Bombird. Now this thing is, not very threatened by the Araquanid, but also gives me an opportunity to set up a Hone Claws here. So that's what we're going to go for. We have the webs up. If there's ever been a good opportunity for the Bombird to do something, today's the time. So they actually end up swapping into Meloetta. This is just basically, I don't know what the hell this thing's in here to do, but I do know it's going to get caught up in the Sticky Web, and that's going to make me faster. So after a little Hone Claws action, we're sitting at +1. We don't have to worry about our speed because of the Sticky Web, and now I'm thinking, this bird is here for one thing only, and that's to use Rocky Payload boosted, accuracy boosted Stone Edges, and that's exactly what we're going to do. And just to increase the damage a bit here to grab a kill with the Stone Edge, I'm actually going to end up going for the Terra Rock here. So Sometimes you kill 2 birds with 1 stone, sometimes 1 bird turns into a stone and kills you. But they're actually going to end up going for a Terra of their own. Now, a lot of the time, you'd imagine that I have the Dark Stab on the Dark type here. I actually do not. So I'm just clicking Stone Edge. They actually are going to go for the Terra Fairy, more than likely expecting some type of just Dark attack on my end, which is not going to happen. I do go for the Stone Edge, and I'm like, surely this just kills the thing, and then the Bomb Bird just gets a crazy sweep. Nope, it actually... Somehow this thing lives. I don't know if this is some type of defensive Meloetta or what, but it then is able to go for the Terra Block. Now luckily I did Terra out of being Dark type, so I actually take that pretty nicely. And then I'm like, I'm just going to keep on throwing Stone Edges. It didn't work out great, but it actually still works out pretty nice. But they actually end up swapping that thing out. They're going to save the Meloetta, and they decide it's a pretty good time to bring in Hitmontop. Now, first of all, it's not going to be Intimidate, meaning that it is going to be Technician. And as I go for the Stone Edge, my ass should have been clicking Sky Attack, but I did not, and it lives the Stone Edge, and now, looking at this thing definitely being Technician, it can go for a Bullet Punch, and that's going to kill me. So, not necessarily going to be this thing's day, but if you're interested in this shitty bird, you should check out my last upload, because it is actually kind of cool. Now, we do get taken care of by a Bullet Punch. This thing's over here dancing just in my face, which, you know, is rude, but it's actually going to open the door pretty nicely for the Charizard here, so... The Zard is going to come in, and the good part about Charizard, not a lot of the people are going to be expecting Belly Drum straight off the rip. So they do end up swapping out the Hitmontop here, and that's going to give me a free Belly Drum, which is exactly, you know, what the Charizard needs here. So they're going to end up bringing in Annihilate. And one thing, you know, bad about Annihilate and Sticky Web is that, you know, we do at least still keep that speed drop. However, that is going to give it a Defiant boost. So now it essentially gets its attack doubled for free, but luckily for us, it's drumming time. We smack the old belly, and that brings us down to half, which is great because then it's nice little lunchtime. So the belly is now full, and we're honestly looking pretty damn healthy here at this point. Now, of course, using up the item now just boosts up acrobatics like crazy. I actually don't even need to click the flame charge. Thanks to the sticky webs, I should be faster than everything. Luckily, since they did go for that defensive Terra with the Meloetta, they have no option to Terra out of that weakness to the acrobatics. And that just straight up deletes the guy. And now at this point, I'm looking at the team that they've got. Honestly, Zard is in a great spot here. So first of all, they go Arachnid. It is, you know, a spider that gets caught up in spider webs, but he's already slow anyway. I can just go for another acrobatics, and barring a focus sash, yeah, that thing is destroyed. So down goes the Arachnid, and it's just a full-on Charizard bloodbath out here. The Belly Drum comes in extremely clutch. Now as they go into Hitmontop once again, this thing, you know, doesn't have any priority options that can really do anything, and acrobatics takes care of it. And the Zard is truly showing that Belly Drum still can be good, like 25 years after they got access to it. So as they do bring in the Cloyster here, this thing probably does have the option for at least a neutral Ice Shard. However, I do just go for that acrobatics. They do not priority, and that just, yeah, that eats it up. I don't care how defensive your crazy Cloyster is, it's dead as hell. Acrobatics is extremely strong. After a Belly Drum, there's truly nothing that wants to deal with Zard, especially if we're faster. Luckily, we did not even have to go for that Flame Charge. But of course, now as they've got the Sinistra, yeah, guess what? Acrobatics U as well. We're playing Push A Button Simulator. Yeah, that turns out to be what the Belly Drum Zard's about. Now, final Mon is going to be the Terrid Meloetta, and guess what we're not afraid of? A little green girl, so, well, I guess green hair. Regardless, this thing's floating in the air for some reason. It comes in, it's slow because of the webs, and in a true feat of skill, all we do is gotta mash A, and one more acrobatics is going to finish off the game, and Charizard just cleanly runs through the entire squad. Dude did not put respect on the potential for Charizard to click Belly Drum, and yeah, definitely paid the price. So that's going to do it for the first match. Charizard is fun to use regardless, but honestly, Belly Drum's got to be one of my favorite sets. Now with that, we also have another match. I will ask, if you've stuck around this far into the video, you should hit that like button. It really does just help out with the algorithm. And let's see if we can get a little more Charizard nonsense going, because, you know, why not? And let's jump into it. Look, if there's one thing that Charizard needs, it's just more love from Game Freak. There's not enough Charizard love in this world, said nobody ever. So, my opponent is going to lead off with the Petarun. Kind of did not expect to see this little poison bastard out here early, but I've got a Quagsire, and I'm just going to go for that Stealth Rock. Now, they are going to bust out the Toxic, just straight off the bat, just making it a whole lot easier for them to deal with my Quagsire. Not only that, but it also activates the Poison Puppeteer. So now with this thing's ability, I also become confused, and just 2 seconds into the match, Quagsire is just all fucked up. But he's like, what have you done to me? Now, luckily, I do at least break through the confusion. I get up some Stealth Rock, and I'm like, all right, that's that's not half bad. I'm also not in a horrible matchup here, considering I have an Earthquake that can do about half to the thing, and it can't really touch me in return, barring it being like a nasty plot set. So they actually end up going for the Shadow Ball over some type of setup with a nasty plot. I actually snap out of confusion straight off the bat, which is great. And this little slimy bastard's able to hit him with a nice little Earthquake, which, does a nice little chunk. And not being confused is great, because now this thing doesn't have any other way to really confuse me. And I'm like, hey, that's pretty good. Problem is, I know that this thing does have recovery, and I don't necessarily want Quagsire to get too far below half at this point. So I'm actually going to end up swapping into Dragalge, because looking a few turns ahead, I can actually get myself a good bit of momentum here. So first of all, Dragalge is great in this matchup, because as they go for the Shadow Ball, I am Assault Vest, and this is a crazy-ass Seahorse Sea Dragon thing that just takes no damage on the special side. Not only that, but I know this thing cannot poison me, and Pecharunt can't do much if it can't poison you. So expecting them to swap out, I'm actually going to go for the Flip Turn. I know that they have some defensive answers to bring into the Seahorse here, so a Flip Turn as they end up bringing in the dance and Peacock. Quackleval comes in, and this thing is a little bit frightening. It's also mostly just frightening because it's weird sausage toes, but I go for that Flip Turn, and that allows me a matchup here. Now looking at it, I'm like, who's great here? Freaking Quagsire, kind of conserving this thing for this matchup anyway, and there's really no reason not to bring this in. So now we come in the age-old standoff of, am I going to be Water Absorb or Unaware in terms of ability? So we get to play that little fun game. I'm going to click the Spikes. It turns out they're actually going to go for the Aqua Step, which I just straight up absorb. And now they're like, yep, that is definitely not an Unaware Quagsire. So that's actually great, because not only do they not get the speed boost that comes with it, I get a nice little heal, and I place down some spikes. So Quagsire just over here being a damn menace, and that's exactly why we bring the fella. So at this point, I know that I can likely live a close combat, which is what they're going to go for. I do live because I'm just defensive as hell. And with the defensive drop, a Stab Earthquake actually it should be able to kill, especially after a Rocky Helmet chip, and that is actually great, because now that makes my life a whole lot easier with Charizard, at least not having to already have a Flame Charge speed boost, but also if that thing had Aqua Step boost, it's gonna be a problem. So Earthquake takes care of it. I actually also end up living my poison damage, which is fantastic, and they decide to go right back into Pecharunt, who can easily just outspeed me and live to see another matchup. So I'm just going to click Earthquake. At this point, there's not really much sense in conserving the Quagsire. They're actually going to end up going for the Recover, which is fine. They want to end this matchup with as much health as possible. They know that the Toxic is just going to take care of me, but an Earthquake's going to just bring it right back down anyway. So, I mean, I'm pretty fine with that. Quagsire got a whole lot of value at this point. After leftovers, they're at half, but looking at this, after, going down to the poison, I have a couple different options on what I want to do here. So bad thing about Pecharunt, this thing just, not only does it poison you, it confuses you, and that's something you just have to work around. However, I'm feeling lucky. I'm going to end up going right into the old Charizard, and that's because it feels like they want to try to, potentially go for another Recover. But for the most part, it feels like in this matchup, Charizard has a great opportunity to just get a free Belly Drum up, and sometimes that's all you need. So I'm going to go straight for that Belly Drum. And it's going to bring me down to half, the whole thing, maximizing my attack. And this is exactly the moment they're probably like, oh, shit. So I get that Citrus Berry. That's going to bring your boy back up to pretty damn healthy. And luckily for us, they actually do just click Recover. I was kind of expecting a Toxic, but I'm willing to roll the dice on the confusions here, because the payoff on it is actually massive. So at this point, while I do have the Earthquake to kill it, I actually decide to go for the Flame Charge. And while it doesn't quite have enough to knock it out, it gives me that speed boost, which is going to be what I need to be able to outspeed something like the Flutter Mane. So the Flutter Mane in the back is kind of the win condition through the Charizard at this point. So while the Flame Charge sucks in terms of now having to deal with the damn Poison Puppeteer, I'm like, if I can get 2 Flame Charges and 2 speed boosts, I can guarantee that I'm faster than not only everything, but also Flutter Mane in the case that it's actually going to be booster energy speed, which a lot of them are. So now it's time to roll the old dice. Charizard, I'm going to just have to go for another Flame Charge here. I bust through the confusion because Charizard is the damn favorite child of Game Freak. And now, that's not only going to be able to take care of the freaking puppeteer over there, but now we've got a +6 attack and +2 speed Charizard over here, which is enough to literally knock out everything they've got. So we do have to win a couple of dice rolls here. So as they bring in the Houndoom, this thing gets destroyed by some rocks and spikes. I'm just going to go for that Acrobatics here in case of any crazy Terra nonsense. And as I am confused, the game is on the line. I do bust through, I get the Acrobatics off, and I was kind of thinking maybe I'd snap out at that point, but we do get lucky with the Rubber Duckies, and we just straight up knock out the Haydunn. So the poison damage is starting to rack up at this point, but I mean we're here for a good time, not a long time, baby. This Charizard is essentially going to try to just poke as many holes as we can here, and as they now bring in the Flutter Mane, this is the freaking threat. It's obviously kind of just the best damn mon in the game. It does get that photosynthesis, and it's going to be a speed boost. But the bad news for them is I got myself 2 flame charges. So I'm actually still going to be faster, and all I got to do is snap out of my confusion. It turns out I do not snap out of my confusion. However, I actually still don't hit myself, which is honestly pretty damn lucky, and an acrobatics allows me to finish off the Flutter Mane. And yeah, with a little bit of luck on your side, this was the payoff that we were freaking looking for. And now, as I have one more hit left in me before I die to my poison, surely I'm able to snap out on this next turn, because we've been damn confused for 4 weeks over here. They are going to bring in the Cerledge, gets absolutely destroyed by the hazards, and this thing has no shot at living, you know, anything we're working with. So I'm just going to click the Earthquake, and we do snap out of the confusion. Of course, important to note, they did not go for the Shadow Sneak there, and Acrobatics just destroys it, and they decide they don't want to play anymore. They're going to turn the switch off. So that was, you know, that's Charizard being extremely annoying through confusion, and also just being a damn menace once again. So thank you guys very much for watching. I really do appreciate all the support on the videos, and I will catch you next time. Peace out.